The family of the Palestinian-American man killed by Israeli settlers is demanding a U.S. investigation. 20-year-old Sayfullah Musallet was beaten to death in the occupied West Bank town of Sinjil on Friday. His family wants the U.S. State Department to hold the attackers accountable. Groups of Israeli settlers have repeatedly attacked Palestinians and their properties in Sinjil in recent weeks. Musallet's funeral is being held in his hometown near Ramallah on Sunday. Well, let's bring in our correspondent, Nida Ibrahim. She joins me now in our Doha studio. Nida, remind us what happened here and what kind of role Israeli forces played.
Well, what happens is that these Israeli settler attacks have been increasing and are on the rise, given the fact that they've been inching closer and closer into Palestinian villages. This time, the settlers have been attacking the village of Sinjil, to really a village close to Ramallah in the middle of the occupied West Bank. They've been besieging the area. The Israeli forces have been besieging the area. But these settlers have been using this specific point as a launching point for their attacks against Palestinians. And that's what happened late on Friday when the Israeli settlers, some of them were armed, attacked Palestinians in that village. 2 Palestinian men went to help defend the village from settler attacks. We've seen before that when Palestinians do not go and try to fend for themselves and stop these settler attacks, that they come to the homes, they come to the children and the women and burn their properties, as we've seen time and again in different Palestinian properties. Now, what happened is that one of them, Sayf Musallet, has been beaten to death by the Israeli settler. The other man, a 23-year-old as well, Mohamed Shalabi, had been beaten up and also shot to the back before the Palestinian farmers found him. They thought he'd been taken captive or basically arrested by the Israeli forces, but later on they realized that he'd been dead on the ground while he was trying to defend his village.
Nida, this feels like it's all part of this broader pattern of violence we've seen across the occupied West Bank.
Yes, indeed. And this settler violence is not really limited and isolated to these areas. It's all across the occupied West Bank. And we see settlers emboldened by the fact that they are growing in numbers, that the Israeli government is giving them more and more settlement units to build. They also build without the approval of the Israeli government in certain areas to kind of take hold of more and more lands and attack more and more Palestinians. Let's look at the numbers just since this year started. According to the UN, in the first half of 2025, 740 incidents of settler violence have resulted in casualties or property damage. In these 6 months as well, nearly 500 Palestinians were injured, 70% of them by settlers, the rest by Israeli forces who usually accompany these settlers. Now let's talk about June itself. 95 Palestinians were injured by settlers in this month alone, making it the highest on record in terms of how many Palestinians were injured in 2 decades. We are talking about a serious escalation in settler violence, and these settlers feel that they've been emboldened not only because they're growing in numbers, but also there's a sense of impunity. They do not get to held accountable. We have 5 Palestinian-Americans who have been killed both by the Israeli settlers and the Israeli forces, but no one has been held accountable until now. And that's why we're seeing settler attacks increasing. And it's not going to be really far off to imagine them attacking more and more villages every day, every hour, as we really see them being emboldened.
A clear escalation indeed. Nida Ibrahim, thank you so much.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.